Morning. It's Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, recorded live from the English Valley's History Center. Here's Jackie.
Hello, my name is Jackie Geringer McDermott. This diary was written by Libby Wade. She was my dad's great aunt, and her full name was Mary Elizabeth Claypool Wade. She was 76 years old in 1950. She lives in a house on East Oak Street in North English, Iowa, with her son, Russell Wade. Here is a picture of Aunt Lib with her sister-in-law, Aunt Minnie Claypool. Lib's on the left and Minnie's on the right. October 28th, 1950. Still nice. We don't need any fire today. I have been busy learning how to operate the stove. Don Hall brought the new panels to replace the ones that were damaged in shipping. He rechecked the oven by his oven thermometer, showed me how to use the various buttons. Don Hall was a businessman uptown. Then I tried it. Had a cake in the oven. Jenny came. She didn't know either, so I called Minnie over. Her stove is entirely different. I still had no help except the book, and what I can remember from what Don told me. Jenny Wade is Lib's daughter-in-law, who lives down on the next block. Minnie Agnew is Lib's neighbor across the street to the east. Finally, the cake was done. I took it out and put biscuits in. Too early. They baked and then dried out. Would have been good if I had taken them out when I should. Live and learn. Stella was here. She will have to lock her house if she wants to keep things. Ed may have been there. Stella Wallace is the mother of Lib's daughter-in-law, Lena Wallace Wade, and is also a neighbor. Minnie said Mrs. Carson has a terrible sore on her hip. I am afraid it is like the one she had on her breast. Poor soul, she is bad off. Mrs. Wilbur Carson, or Belle Carson, is their neighbor across the street to the north. She has had terrible health issues. Ressie and Ora MD were here in the PM. Ressie Wilkinson, age 63, is an old neighbor from the Yankee Point area. Ora MD is the girl on the front left of this picture. Her name was spelled O-R-A, and her last name's capital E-M-D-E. She was 68 years old and a friend from out in the Green Valley / Champion Hill area who has moved to town. Ora's maiden name was Long, and she was a sister to Emma Hardy and an aunt to my great-uncle John Long, who was married to Louise Claypool Long. Ora MD was married to Christian, or Chris MD, and was the mother of Sarah Popham. Mary Ann stopped in, and also Tracy for a few minutes. Mary Newhouse is a divorced neighbor who rents out rooms in her home and often runs errands for Lib. Tracy Wallace is a neighbor from Smoky Row or East Washington Street. Tracy's son, John Geringer, is married to Lib's niece, Bertha Claypool Geringer, and they are my grandparents. Mary Ann stopped in. Russell brought oysters for supper. Ruth Bursler came and brought us a chicken, $1.25. Hattie spent the evening with me. Burslers went to the show. 10:30 is when they came back. Russell Wade is Lib's youngest son, and she lives in his house with him. He works at the Home Lumber Company, or the Lumber Yard, a block north of their home. Ruth Bursler is the sister of Lib's friend, Hattie Newberry Killian. Here's a picture of Hattie in the back. The The show that the Burslers saw tonight at the Orpheum Theater was Twilight in the Sierras with Roy Rogers and Trigger. Sunday, October 29th, 1950. Another lovely day. We slept late. I was up long before Russell. He went to the yard with Harris for something. I got dinner. The stove is grand. No trouble at all. Just need to know a little and try out. I cooked chicken and gravy, potatoes and pears and coffee. After dinner, Russell went out to Reese's. He and Mildred are going for a ride this evening. Mildred Reese is Russell's girlfriend who lives in the country west of town with her parents. Someone is putting siding on Minnie's house. They are working on it today. Mary Ann was here. She and Lorna had been out riding in the Jeep. Went to South English and all around. She brought us ice cream cones for us to eat here. The locker where they have the ice cream is half a block away. The IOOF hall was above the locker on the second floor where social group meetings were held. The locker must have been open on Sunday, so they got some ice cream cones. I used the new chicken fryer and the Perfex cooker for the first time. Have had them for quite a while, but kept them for use on the new stove. Also 2 nice aluminum bake pans that have not been used. I read a library book and wrote to Anna. Anna Cray is Liv's only daughter who lives in Texas. This is her and her husband Richard Cray. Jenny came after the show about 9:30. She said Lyle Furman and wife were there last evening. They were married 2 weeks ago. They had been to Chicago to visit Helene and to California to visit Darlene. Harriet was with them part way. Had also been in Williamsburg to see Junior and Brad. Lyle Furman was a distant relative on the Wade side and a family friend. The movie that Jenny saw uptown Saturday night at the Orpheum Theater was Ma and Pa Kettle Go to Town. She also told of hearing from Dolores. Her feet are in a terrible way, sores in the joints. Is to begin a new treatment right away. The girls are doing well in school. Janet goes to Anoka and the others to a school near them. Dolores Lawrence is Jenny's sister in Minnesota. Her girls have been to Iowa to stay in the summertime before. October 30th, 1950. Much warmer predicted for today. Russell brought home some fish. They went to Burlington yesterday p.m. The Catholics had a dance last night up here at the hall. Don Yoss has a sliver in his arm that the doctor was not able to get out. It was so deep. Don Yoss is married to Lib's oldest granddaughter, Belva Wade Yoss. I made cookies this morning. Got along pretty well with the oven. Flossie stopped in a few minutes. She is having trouble with a wisdom tooth. We'll have to get it grubbed out, I think. Other things are nearing completion, and it is a worry for her. Flossie West is the granddaughter of Lib's cousin Wallace Claypool. Flossie lives with her parents, Millard and Molly Claypool, north and east of town. Her school-aged daughter, Barbara, also lives there. Flossie is in the process of a divorce from her husband, Winter West. Alice Vanaken stopped in. They plan to go to Oklahoma to visit with friends, to be gone for a week or 10 days. Alice Vanaken writes a column for the North English Record, so she stops by often to see if Lib has any news to share. Alice was the step-grandmother of Carolyn Elwood from the History Center board. Mrs. Bolts left with her son Clarence yesterday. Will be gone for the winter, I suppose. I will miss her. We had catfish for dinner. Elizabeth, or Lizzie Geiger Bolts, is Lib's friend and neighbor who is nearing 90 years old. Lib really likes Mrs. Bolts. Pearl and Mary Kennedy came for a while in the PM. They live in California now, but are here for a visit. Pearl looks so much like his father. He will be 59 the 5th of December. The Kennedys were neighbors who had moved away. Frida and the children were up. Belva is sick or something wrong. Jenny went over there. Heard later they're having a sort of flu and Belva is weak. It's better this evening. Jenny came home. Frida Wade was the wife of Lib's grandson, Walter Bud Wade, and they lived around the block from Lib. Belva Yost was Frida's sister-in-law, Jenny's daughter, and Lib's oldest married granddaughter. Lena was here this evening. We had a good visit. Had tricks or treats visitors. Lena Wade is married to Lib's middle son, Warren or Mike Wade. October 31st, 1950. This is a very lovely day, so warm and bright. Yesterday's temperature reached an all-time high for this time of year. 90 degrees was reported. 86 degrees here. Really nice. I'm trying the oven again today, baking a fish. I think I'll get it learned by degrees. I read directions a while and then try them out. Don't know it all, maybe can get enough to get by on. We had fish, biscuits, potatoes, all fairly good. Also had lettuce, jelly, etc. After dinner I wrote to Dale. Poor boy over there where there is so much trouble. Dale Bishop is a neighbor who is in the service. Lib writes faithfully to Dale. A lady was here today selling spot remover. I didn't buy, but it sounded good. I had lots of callers this evening. Tricks or treats. Used all of the cookies, some apples, and candy. Some had such terrible looking makeup. All were having fun. Flossie brought Barbara in for a good time. She said her law deal is completed today. No trouble at all. I wonder what will happen later about the 1 day a week or 2 weeks. I don't know which. I doubt if Barbara will be willing to go with her dad on those days. She is afraid of Albert and Pete. Let's just say Winter West, Flossie's ex-husband, was an odd person. His uncle Peter West, who was 86 years old in 1950, and his uncle Albert West, who was 81 years old, were eccentric also and pioneer types from what I have heard. And here is a picture of Barbara West's great uncle, Peter West. Russell went to the church. They had an entertainment and supper. A play, The Farmer's Daughter, was very good, he thought. Russell attends the local Methodist church. The English Valleys History Center promotes the rich history of the communities within the river valleys of the North, Middle, and South English rivers. It encompasses an area roughly served by the English Valley School District, from Deep River to near Parnell, and from Watcher to Kinross. This also includes the communities of Millersburg, North English, Webster, and South English. Please send donations to the English Valleys History Center, P.O. Box 70, North English, Iowa 52316. Today's feature story is on Don and Phyllis Hall. The man that Lib had installing her new electric range is Don Hall, a local, longtime businessman. Orlando Don Hall and his wife, Phyllis Torrance Hall, ran the business together. They both were from the Brooklyn, Iowa area, and Phyllis started out as a teacher. This story is taken from the North English 150-year book. Don and Phyllis Hall came to North English from Brooklyn, Iowa in 1943. And Don worked for Lloyd Davison in his appliance business that was located in the building that is now part of the North English Public Library. When Davison moved to Illinois, Don sold and serviced appliances for a few years on his own, but it was difficult getting items in stock during the late years of World War II. That he also moved to Aurora, Illinois to work for a gas company for a year. Don and his family returned to Iowa to work at Theodore Van Auken's Texaco station for a few years, and then they moved to the Lebanon, Missouri area to farm. According to Don, the farm was so poor that you couldn't even raise hell on it with a jug of whiskey. So after 6 months, they returned to North English to work again for Theodore Van Aken. About a year later, Don established the O.D. Hall appliance business located on the west side of South Main Street. He sold ABC appliances, Skell gas stoves and appliances, and eventually a full line of Maytag products. Don also developed the Skell gas bottled propane business and delivered Skell gas to over 300 customers in the area for nearly 40 years until retiring in 1975 and moving to Arkansas. By the end of 1977, they moved back, although because North English just felt like home. Here's a picture of an ad from the appliance store. And there's another ad. And there are several of these calendars floating around. Some of them have the beautiful printing on them. I think they're just lovely. Here is the picture of the appliance store. It's on the south end of Main Street, on the west side. Don and Phyllis raised their two boys, Orlando Don Hall, or Lanny Hall, and Richard or Dick Hall in North English. Here's a picture of Lanny with the Boy Scouts when he was younger. He is in the front row, second from left. And here is a picture of Lanny Hall when he came back to film the North English Sesquicentennial in 2004. And here is a picture of the Hall's younger son, Dick Hall. And here's a picture of Don when he was elderly. And I've been looking all morning for a picture of Phyllis, and I can't seem to come up with one. When I find one, I'll give it to you and show it to you. Correspondence. Mark Claypool said, Jackie, welcome back. Outstanding today. I can still smell that fuel oil burner and my memories of putting up the storm windows. Love the pictures of your trip. Vicki Johnson from California commented, I always enjoy the program. Today's was no exception. We can be proud of the North English men. I was thrilled to see a picture of my beloved Aunt Maxine. Thank you. And to show you the picture that Vicki was talking about again, here is Keith Kirkpatrick on the right. Keith was a soldier from North English who was at Iwo Jima and had already earned his Purple Heart when the flag was raised on the island. Keith is shown with his mother and sisters. In the back, Evelyn Reynolds, Fern Fancher Baugh, Maxine Baugh, Roxine Regseger, Esther Miller Kirkpatrick, and Dorothy McClellan. And another view of the sisters with their parents before Keith Kirkpatrick was born. In the top row, Mother Esther Kirkpatrick, Fern Kirkpatrick. In the middle row, Evelyn Kirkpatrick, Father Orson Kirkpatrick holding Roxine Kirkpatrick, and Maxine Kirkpatrick is in the front. Several children of the Kirkpatrick sisters are my weekly listeners. They are the cousins of my friend Helen Kirkpatrick Schwietert from Colesburg, Iowa, and Lake Placid, Florida. Something I'm quite proud of is that we have had over 4,000 views of my program on YouTube. All of the programs are together on one channel that is called Jackie Geringer McDermott. And our weekly viewership on Facebook is always over 1,000 views. Bits and pieces of EV stuff. Since we've been talking about fuel oil, I wanted to show you this picture of my parents and I with my sister Rita. She's the one Mom is holding and I'm standing in front. This was in 1957 when my father, John Francis Geringer, ran the tank wagon for Standard Oil in North English. Dad had been in partnership with his brother Marvin Geringer in the Standard Oil gas station that was just north of the History Center, where Grimm Real Estate and Insurance is today. After he finished driving the tank wagon, he went back to the gas station alone with his brother, as his brother Marvin went to work in Cedar Rapids and their family moved to Springfield. Here is a picture of my dad, John Francis Geringer, pumping gas at the Standard service station sometime between 1957 and 1964. About the Vietnam heroes. Our friend John Hall from the class of 1968 recalls that he went to pay his respects to Roy Berkey, the father of Harold Berkey, who was killed in Vietnam. His own father, Cleo or Buzz Hall, who was a World War II vet, asked that John wear his suit because he needed to be very respectful of Harold's sacrifice. Here is a picture of Cleo or Buzz Hall on the right and Harold Weimer on the left, who served in World War II. I visited with our History Center board member, Alan Ackerman. He said that Glenn and Hazel Cobb presented a watch to his father, Phil Ackerman, because Phil was the track coach of their son, Robert Cobb, who was killed in Vietnam. This watch has been passed on to the Ackerman descendants. Sarah Jane Carr, who is now known as Janie Miller, the retired English Valley's school guidance counselor, remembers Bob Cobb when he rode the school bus with her. Bob Cobb was so nice to the little children on the bus, Janie remembers. We also remembered Vietnam hero Tom Behrens because I attended church at Watcher Methodist with his parents, Kenny and Eleanor Behrens. My friend Carol Benson from Sigourney remembers, I grew up around Tom. We were the same age. I remember the news of his death. So sad. He was such a good kid. A $10,000 grant from the Poweshiek County Alliance will support the American Legion Francis Gallagher Post 294's effort to bring The Wall That Heals, a traveling replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, to Brooklyn, Iowa, from July 30th through August 2nd at 2 p.m. The replica will be on the BGM football field and will be open 24/7. The next alumni luncheon will be June 1st, 2026, at the Main Street Pub and Grub. Please contact Alice Stramer or Linda Carter for seating. We are also interested in learning about historical English Valley's items that you may wish to donate to the History Center. Please contact Dave Jackson, Scott Romine, or any board member to donate. And thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.